Okay, so we're here with Parker Podcast, and with Ava Rosenthal, Cooper Haywood, Peter Jonas, and me, Sebastian Wagner.
What's up? I'm alive.
And today we'll be
I'm
talking...
not. Okay.
You good?
No, I'm not.
Not what I meant. Today we'll be talking about anxiety.
We do not suffer from anxiety here on this podcast.
Not at all.
Are the prime teenage specimens.
Oh, yeah,
and we
definitely.
We have no issues
we
whatsoever.
can just completely ignore the fact that, like, one of the last times we did this, I literally hid under a desk because it was too loud.
Yeah. We can move on. You know what? We're letting go.
We are moving on.
Yeah. We're overcoming our adversities, not our adversaries.
Yeah, I got threatened yesterday with broken kneecaps.
Wow.
That is not anxiety related.
It actually is.
Is it
If you think about it.
Okay, please continue.
Anyway.
I guess we can start with what is considered anxiety and how, like, what's the limits on what you would consider anxiety?
Anxiety is when your brain is given a lack of
I
information.
don't want science,
I was literally about to
Well,
look
you
it up.
asked what it is.
No, I meant, like, okay, I guess you're right.
I guess
wasn't specific
emotionally,
enough.
what would you
Like,
consider like
right.
anxiety rather than just stress?
Mm-hmm. Like, what defines anxiety versus, stress, that's
Yeah.
perfect.
I'd say anxiety is more of an aggressive stress. Like, stress, okay.
You're stressing aggressively.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to do this.
Stress.
We're gonna talk about this in like the alpha male setup now, right? It's
Oh,
stressful.
Yes,
Ugh.
the alpha male podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I think anxiety, when you're stressed, you can still like do something about it. It's not all encompassing. It's not controlling you. Your stress does not control you
There's also...
as much as anxiety controls you. Anxiety is more controlling than you think. It's like that ex you can't get rid of.
Yeah, I think it's like compare it to pre-algebra. That's not stressing at all. I think that it's
Take algebra.
whatever. Anyway, moving on. He's bashing my algebraic ability here.
I'm sorry.
I think that it's kind of it's more isolating than stress. So it's something that each person, it's hard to define because each person goes through it very differently and each person has different stressors. But I think kind of an all-encompassing kind of universal definition would be something that is kind of impossible to break away from. So it's when that we're talking about like very serious topics here. And my lack of knowledge in algebra, but most of it is serious topics. Anyway, I think that a lot of it is kind of stemming from this idea of like kind of an encompassing stress level that doesn't really ebb or flow. Like it'll spike, but most of it is just something that you kind of deal with on a regular basis. Right. And it's something that can grow significantly, and that's what causes a lot of anxiety.
It's also kind of hard to pinpoint.
Yeah.
Because of the way it's designed into your brain, it will avoid calling itself anxiety.
Yeah.
So you'll go to other things like, oh, I'm just stressed, it's fine.
Yeah, you need to sleep more.
Yeah.
It's you know what? It's the phones. It's
Oh, yeah.
all
Oh,
the
yeah.
phone's fault.
Well, with my parents, it is fully and completely on the food I eat, and I eat relatively healthy.
Yeah.
But whatever I do, it's like, no, not healthy, salad all the time. No exceptions.
I couldn't live like that. I just couldn't do it.
I need chocolate to survive. I'm sorry,
Okay.
I can't.
Anyway, we have gone majorly off topic. This is anxiety.
Woo!
Helicopter.
Going off of anxiety, you two both have, what are your ways to cope with it?
Ooh.
If you have one.
I just deal with it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I
Just
get
get
up
over
and
it.
I deal with it. No, but I think that, I mean, finding interests that are kind of broad that you can like immerse yourself in is really important. I really I guess, I think that being outside is important, even though it makes me sound like an old man.
No,
and
I totally agree.
Yeah, I think that there's
Go
a
outside,
lot of,
Get your
drink some
vitamin
water.
there's a lot of pros to that. I think that finding stuff that you enjoy and that can help pull you out of that. For example, like I really like music. I like playing music, whatever else, and that's something that you can do that almost flips the switch a little bit, and makes it kind of a difference between how you're feeling when you're anxious and how you're feeling when you're doing that specific thing to help you pull
Right. Just to let a
separate
little
it.
bit of stress out.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I've got, for me, biking or mountain biking,
Yeah.
I can like get into a zone. Weirdly, I enjoy muscle pain, so
Oh
I can
man.
just like.
Oh, like
Well,
going.
if I work myself to the max, all of the stress is gone from my brain. The only thing in my brain is pain,
Yeah,
which
it's like,
sounds
ow.
weird, but I really enjoy it because I can't think.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of
I mean,
like,
for me, it's,
reality to
I
that.
enjoy running sore, but I don't really think that applies. But
Squats suck so bad. I was just doing that. I was like so sore. It sucks. But anyway, that's something that can. Sorry, that was really loud. That's something that
That was
can
really
help.
loud.
I apologize.
It's fine. One way I cope with anxiety is FaceTime my friends because they help me get through anxiety.
Unless
And
one of them has an Android and can't FaceTime.
yeah,
That he looked directly at me.
At Ava.
I feel attacked.
Right. So, what do you think, like, are the most common reasons for anxiety? Is there one, or
School.
is it literally just
School.
everything?
School.
I'm gonna disagree with that. Actually.
Well,
I think it's
it applies everywhere.
I think it's more like social relations, especially like it could even apply to adults outside of school, because you're gonna be in school for a good part of your life. That's probably where you're gonna experience a lot of anxiety, but I think the higher chunk of it will be caused by social relations and
Yeah.
tension between it.
I think that
It's.
no,
Sorry.
you're good. I think a part of it's schoolwork also. I think that's why that's
Right.
kind of an immediate. Don't inhale that loudly.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
This is an ASMR thing.
Welcome back. I think that kind of yeah,
Stop.
please say stuff. Yeah, we can have this whole like immersive conversation with this in the background. I think that schoolwork is kind of why school is kind of. I keep saying kind of. It's really annoying me, but it's attached to that. It's attached to anxiety because of the.
Everyone
worries
has
in school.
anxiety, and it happens everywhere.
To a certain
But school seems to be the place where you begin to notice just
Yeah.
how much it
Okay.
affects you.
School is like anxiety steroids.
Exactly.
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
enhances it.
language arts.
But I think that
Yes.
there's like a lack of, because I was in online, and that's when my anxiety skyrocketed,
Oh, I
and
can do that.
I didn't socialize with anybody, so I don't necessarily know if it's the lack of, or like, socialization and the social pressures that are all of it, because even when that's removed completely, it's still kind of that schoolwork.
Yeah.
What are other things that kind of can stem anxiety
Oh.
besides, because school's the big one, you
Y'all
know.
want to hear my triggers?
Work.
Well, yeah, school,
Why not?
work,
Oh,
everything that goes
parents.
into that's a good one.
Yes.
The family
Do them
pressures,
dishes.
Preach,
friends
my brother.
pressure. That's definitely
Do them
that's-
dishes.
Right.
And talk
Okay,
to them.
can
This
we
is
go
not
back
good.
to parents? Something that triggers me for no reason is how if I'm going to go do the dishes and then they're like, go do them dishes, and now I don't want to do the dishes. Like, that just put me in a bad mood.
Yeah.
It could have been relaxing. I could have.
I really
been
want
a
to
good
hear
person,
parents'
but, like-
voice.
Yeah, do that again. Taylor Swift. No, let's not
I
do that.
mean, my triggers, I feel, are a bit interesting, especially if you know what kind of a person I am.
Which none of us do.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Totally
Have
not
your
at all.
headphones
I
on
definitely
backwards.
don't, respectfully.
I do?
Yeah, there's an R there, and you had it on the whole ear.
Wait, no. Oh, yeah, it's reversed. I can't do left and right. That's
Neither
not.
can
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh.
Yeah,
Do
go
you
ahead.
think
I kind of want to
that
talk about my triggers.
No, Ava, go.
Do you think that there are some things that are perceived as positive things that can actually cause anxiety and cause stresses? Like
relationships.
No.
that's a good
Literally anything social could be seen two ways.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think because like, well, there's also isolating stuff. Like
Right.
for example, I had like a lot of this kind of daydreaming type of deal where it was like all the time, and it distanced you a lot from reality, and
Right.
it made my anxiety go.
Oh, totally.
And I don't even know if that was like true anxiety, but there were definitely a lot of strings attached to that. So I think that even in an isolated state, when it goes to an extreme, so like extreme social activity and extreme isolation will always have some kind of anxious tendencies on people. But are there any other like positive or like perceivably positive things?
Maybe being that like
Pushing through your anxiety.
right, but you're expected to be like super. I don't even know. Like you're expected to be emotionally stable,
Yeah.
and
And
once
all
you're
of us
expected-
are.
Imagine being
Yeah.
emotionally stable. I
Yeah.
could never.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of that's
Peter,
no,
get your feet off the table.
that is very very
that-
true.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyways,
Okay, something positive.
Cooper, you said
Crushes.
relationships.
Crushes and relationships.
Right.
I just bumped the mic. I'm sorry.
I mean, like I could very easily say I was relatively emotionally. I cannot talk. Emotionally
Nobody can
stable
talk today.
before a certain
English.
relationship. I'm not gonna say names,
Yeah.
but I was actually in a really good spot. I got into the relationship. I was happy 10% of the time when I was with said person, and then the rest of the time it was like no anxiety, depression.
Yeah.
But-
I think that it's like there's always like questioning balances in relationships,
Right.
and when
it
you
also depends on the
overthink it.
person.
Exactly.
Because I was, specifically me, I was devoting so much time to, I will say it was a her.
Yeah,
I
we'll
was-
add that in.
I was devoting so much time to making sure she was okay,
Yeah.
and I didn't have time for myself, so I could do literally no self-care whatsoever.
Yeah,
We
I
have
think
like
that
3
that's
minutes.
that's a tough thing about relationships is there's always that give and take, and when you're giving too much, it's kind of an impossible situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Me saying this as a single person who has never dated anybody.
Hey,
Ooh.
wait.
Anyway.
How old
we,
were you?
Peter, doesn't matter. So we were in a, we are in agreement that relationships can be good or bad.
Yes.
For anxiety,
Yeah.
correct.
Yes.
And it can be good or bad even in like the same hour. Like you can be feeling
Oh,
great
yeah.
and then it's nope.
Yeah, it
bad.
changes. That's the thing. It's like you think you're okay, and there's that kind of relief there, and then when you kind of relapse into that kind of anxiety, it's difficult. I say kind of way too much.
Yes, you do. That's fine.
Thank you, kind of. And
My point exactly.
but yeah, I think that's always difficult, that ebb and flow.
Right.
So as I was saying, it has, I don't know what I was talking about. Okay. The pressures of fitting into certain groups or things that can be perceived positively but are actually negative, when it comes down to personal, stop nodding, it's making me uncomfortable, Peter. It's hard to talk. Okay. It's can be very stressful. Okay. So that's stressful, and I guess there's a lot of different ways you can go about helping that and kind of combating that anxiety, but it's something that a lot of us struggle with. So I guess we could all say that we're kind of in a similar situation. So
I mean, I have something that kind of I feel works to help. Granted, I rarely have done it, but
I'm gonna think of so many things that are the wrong answers.
Same.
oh god.
Sebastian.
sense something about like
Sensory deprecation.
deprecation or something like that.
Deprecation.
Deprivation.
Yeah, like
Is
like
it
Deprivation.
deprivation.
But there's deprecation also, but it's
Yeah.
deprivation.
One of the
thinking
two.
of
One of any of the words in
Enclaves.
English literature.
But essentially
just one of the
something
Yeah.
like if I
No.
feel stressed and if I have the ability to, I will go into a pitch dark room and just lay on the floor.
I do, okay. That really helps. I mean,
It does.
sometimes it's
Because
kind of
your
an
eyes-
opposite of
your
like
eyes-
effect, but
Your eyes are overwhelming. If
Yeah.
you have
Right, but if
no vision,
like, or
you
if
have to
just,
focus on your
close
other
your
senses.
eyes and listen to music. And
oh my
That
god,
works
I do
too.
that
That's so
so,
helpful.
Oh my gosh.
so
Mick
much.
Gor-
But anyway.
It's fine. Nick Jonas is too old for me too.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah.
My
now
uncle?
we're gonna get
No.
into it.
Essentially,
I'm trying to remember what we.
to wrap up what we talked about today, anxiety and like where it shows up and how we
Anxious
can
anxiety.
anxious anxiety and how and where it shows up in the school building and outside of school. How things that seem positive can actually hurt you, and ways to help with it. This is Parker Podcast, signing off.